Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here with you as always. It is Thursday, March 5th, 2026, 7 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee. This is a live morning space for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. On this show, we talk about positivity, but not the fluffy kind. We talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We'll also highlight good things happening in the industry, share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice, and most importantly, have honest conversations. This is a live show, so if you're here, feel free to ask questions or join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well out there. It is Thursday, as I said, and it is going to be a nice day here in Nashville, Tennessee. We've had some beautiful days recently. Yesterday was almost 77, 78 degrees or something like that. And we're going to have another warm one today. Kind of crazy. A couple of weeks ago, we had a huge ice storm. And here we are now, kind of just enjoying this beautiful, unbelievable weather here in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's just the way Nashville rolls, you know. But very glad to be here with all of you. And today I wanted to talk about this subject because I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone regarding the things that I'm doing and regarding what they're working on and how to pivot, or not even pivot, but how to restructure my life around the life that they or around the work that they need done for them. So how would what do I have to quit? You know, and I always thought and think to myself, well, I don't really necessarily have to quit anything. I don't really quit. I just restructure everything. And that didn't seem to be um the answer. You know, I think that was it was an interesting conversation. I was very I wasn't necessarily taken aback by it because I understood where it came from. I think there was just been um some situations that have happened in the past where it kind of happened to them, where they got either screwed or they got something happened. And I think this is part of the precaution what they're taking now. They need someone to really commit 100% and give up pretty much everything else that they're working on. That seems to be the thing that they're doing. Especially somebody like myself, I come in with a lot of experience in, you know, doing entrepreneur stuff and having my own agency and having done freelance social media and films and music. I can seem like I'm all over the place to someone who doesn't understand the creative process or doesn't understand what I'm going to talk about today, which is basically identity. You know, it's being a creative person and not really losing your identity to any one project, right? So working on multiple projects at once can be creatively energizing, but it can also quietly blur the line between who you are and what you're making. And this is what happens with others. I think the line is blurred to them. They don't see it. When you attach your identity too tightly to any one project, every delay, rejection, or setback feels personal. See, this is why I don't do it. The key is remembering that you are the source, not the product. A script falling apart, a funding deal collapsing, a collaborator stepping away doesn't diminish your voice. It simply means that particular expression of it wasn't meant to move forward in that moment. So, you know, when you're doing a lot of different projects, most of the time I'm the one in charge of what I'm working on because it's my thing, right? Unless I'm doing a project I'm doing a consulting job for, you know, social media, or I'm doing a video shoot for somebody or something like that, then obviously I have to answer to those individuals, making sure that they're happy and they're satisfied, and that I'm having a good conversation with them, and that I'm listening, because that's a big deal. You got to listen. If you don't listen, you're going to miss a million things. So you got to listen to what they're saying. You got to understand what they want. And then if you can't not deliver, listen closely, folks. And this is a tough one because money is money, and sometimes we need money. But if you cannot deliver, no, and you know that you cannot deliver that product that they need, you need to tell them. And you can tell them, you say, look, I don't know how to do what you need, but I know that I can figure it out. And if you give me a week, or give me a few days, or give me a few hours, whatever you think, give me a few days, I will come back to the table with a presentation for you. If that presentation that I bring to you works and looks like it's something that can help, then you take the plunge and you dive. Because so many times I see people, they take roles, they take these responsibility jobs where they realize they don't really know how to do the thing. They may have been involved in the thing. And a perfect example is the fitness industry. You get a lot of people that work in fitness. They work as personal trainers because they love working out. Some of them were just members and they got into fitness training. And then suddenly, because they've been there for a long time and they're very personable and they're good at being trainers, they get jobs as managers. The owner thinks that, well, this person will be a good manager because they're so good at that one job. And then you give them the job and they really don't know how to function as a manager because they've never had to do that. To to um they've never had to manage people other than their own clients. See, when you're a personal trainer, you're an independent contractor. You make money based on your clients, and you get clients at the gym, and then the facility gets a percentage of that, and then you get the rest of the percentage. So the more you charge, the more the company gets. So if you're making a lot of money for them as a trainer, they think, well, they'll do great for us as a manager. Why? I would give them more more responsibility, or give them a little higher cut in their training split, instead of taking most of the, or half of it. Give them a little bit bigger cut. That'll give them more incentive to go out and get more clients and make more money for the company, but not and for themselves. But as a manager, you don't necessarily do that. So this is part of the a really important thing to understand when you're doing a lot of creative projects at once. Don't lose your identity to try to become something else for a company because you want to get that gig. You have to keep your personal integrity. And your personal integrity means that you're not doing it because you don't want to help them. You're not doing it because you know you cannot provide what they need, because you're tied up into things, or you don't know how to do it, or maybe you just don't want to do that kind of work, but you were interested in the income possibilities. So you have to be very, very, very tight with your integrity, and very, very clear with who you're talking to about it. And you have to separate yourself, especially when you have a lot of different projects. Separating your identity from the project gives you emotional durability. When you understand that timing, budgets, market trends, and politics play massive roles in what gets made, you stop internalizing outcomes that were never fully in your control. You can pivot without feeling erased. You can shelve something without feeling buried with it. This mindset allows you to maintain clarity and confidence while navigating multiple creative lanes at once. The mindset that you don't need it, or that you're going to pivot, or that you're going to shelf it. Now, it doesn't mean to quit. You have to understand that quitting is not an option for me when I'm really passionate about doing something. But if it's preventing me from doing other things, or from finding happiness, or if I see that it's something really out of my control, then I say, okay, I need to actually put this aside for a second and then move forward. I also have to sometimes tell companies and people that I'm working with, no, I cannot work for you, because what you're looking for is not something that I can provide, and it's not fair to you. And not because I can't provide it because I can't do the work, but it's because I don't have the time. um if they're asking you to do something that maybe threatens other projects, like they say, you have to give up everything that you're doing and just be, this is 100% 24/7. It's like, okay, well, how much are you paying? Huh? And if they're paying a low amount, or they're not paying exactly what you can get anywhere else, then you have to kind of ask yourself, is it worth it? And you know what? Sometimes it might be. So this is where having the right mindset and being in present time and understanding where you are and the conversations and what the project and possibilities are, studying the project that you're working on and what their background is and how the growth potential is. So sometimes you may do a film, like I've done films for nothing, where I just show up. Why? Because the director, the 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 cast is someone that I respect. There's a big name in the cast that I like. There's a writer that wrote it that I know is a good writer, and maybe there's no money involved, but I can feel that the project's going to go somewhere, and at least it's going to get made and it's going to get seen, and will be fairly good, right? So then you take those responsibilities. You take the responsibility to say, okay, I'm going to do this for no money, and then you pivot around it and you try to figure out. Man, I've been saying the word pivot this whole week on a few episodes. I'm gonna stop saying that. It's not even a word that I really use that much in real life, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. But anyway, let me pivot out of that. So you have to look at the situation and be like, okay, you know what? This may be beneficial down the line, or it may be a friend of yours, and that's a different thing, right? It's a personal thing. You're just helping out a buddy. That's a nice thing to do as well. But you know, when you detach yourself from things, and when you say, you know, when you have the mindset that says, you know what, I don't have to do this, right? I don't have to be this role, or I don't have to take this job, even though the money is good. I don't have to take it. Um, I think that it gives you your power back. You know, you're able then to make decisions based on what you really need and what you really know that you're worth, and you keep your integrity really, really tight. And sometimes you also don't want to tell people what you can't do. You know, you say, yeah, I mean, I can do it. Like, I've done things like this before, but you have to give up everything in order to do this. And then you have to look at yourself and say, okay, do I want to give up everything? You know, maybe you don't. You know, maybe you don't. Maybe you got things that you're passionate about and you don't want to give it up, and you want to say, well, no, I'm going to work for you this amount of hours. And when it comes to this time, I'm leaving, right? If you're doing a 9 to 5, well, you leave at 9. I mean, you start at 9 and you leave at 5, period. That's just the way it is, right? Ironically, the more you detach your worth from the work, the stronger your creative identity becomes. Think about it for a second, because now you've removed, right? You've detached yourself from the work in a way that doesn't, um, that now you can look at it as like, what can I contribute to it? What can they afford? You see, you're separated from the work, and now your identity, not only are you going to gain more respect in their world, you're going to get more respect for yourself, and you're going to get more respect in the industry. You're going to respect your own creative decisions when you make that decision, and when you actually have the mindset. You have a strong mindset, because sometimes the money could be good. It could be good. And you say, wow, this is good money. But in the long run, you have to then sit down and say, let me take a day to think about this, if it's okay. And if they say, okay, you good, you go and you take a day and you start getting a pen and paper down and start writing, start documenting, start thinking to yourself, okay, what do I need to have in order to make this profitable, in order to make this, and I don't mean financially profitable, but I mean emotionally profitable and spiritually profitable and creatively profitable, right? Where it's going to give you something, and you're going to be able to deliver what's being asked of you. And are you willing to give up everything for this project? Is that something that you'd like to do? You see what I'm saying? I think that's the most difficult part, because this industry, work comes so far few in between everything, that when another job comes up, you have to look at it like, I got to take this job because I need this money. But then what are the jeopardy? You know, what jeopardy are you're gonna take? You know, it says, "Damn you crazy." Oh wow. Okay, that's a good one. Good line. Never heard that one before. Idiot. Um, I get a lot of people. I get a lot of haters that are sitting in their house bored. So you have to think about yourself. If you have a job, right, and you're comfortable financially, but you want to make some more money, and somebody offers you a gig where you have to kind of give up all your creative elements and all your creative process and your projects just to work on this one project, and you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't do it. Then don't do it. The key thing is really you don't want to do it, because it's one thing to say, you know, it's one thing to say, I'm going to do this job for money because I think that it's important for us to like to play this game and stuff, and that's something that you can really relate to, you know. But you don't necessarily have to give up what you're working on. Because as soon as you start giving up what you're working on, you start realizing that maybe it's not strong enough what you're working on. But if you say to yourself, if somebody says, we need you to devote your whole life to this project right now while we're doing it, and you look to yourself, you say, okay, it's 4 months, 5 months, it's a year, 2 years sometimes. You're like, am I comfortable enough giving up everything for this project, and then that's when your integrity has to give in, and if it makes you uncomfortable, then really reconsider it. you know you begin to see patterns in your storytelling, themes that reoccur, perspectives that only you bring. Those elements remain constant across projects, whether they launch or not. That's your identity as a filmmaker. Projects may come and go, but your voice is the constant. This is what they want in their project, right? It's your voice, right? It's your voice. It's your ability to communicate. It's your ability to direct, to come up with creative things on the fly, to be quick, to work well with the cast, to work well with casting. Maybe they're being brought in for casting. There's a lot of different things. I'm having a meeting on Monday with a writer, an award-winning writer, on Monday night. I'm sorry, Monday morning, and we're discussing a film that he has that we're that he wants me to be part of, and I have to go and I have to see, is this something that I can even do? Like if it's going to be a couple of months with shooting out of town, I got to go. I got to coordinate things. What's it going to pay? Is it going to pay enough for me to do that? You know, so I'm having that meeting on. It's our second meeting on Monday, and I'm excited about it because I love meeting people and I love seeing what they're working on. And if I can contribute to it, it's exciting. And if I can't, well, that's fine too. I'll just go and keep working on my thing and wish them well, and I'll help them when the film comes out with promoting, and I'll share their clips and their content and their any festivals that they've gone into. I'll do that because that's part of who I am, and I enjoy helping other filmmakers, right? Um, and if I can be part of it, that'll be even more exciting. Just go off for a couple of months and do a project and get paid and come back, and I think I love doing that. Whew. So that's part of the game, right? So anyway, what am I saying now? Okay, so I'm gonna be actually cutting out a little bit earlier today. You know why? Because I have a chiropractor. I'm going to the chiropractor today. Now I had a chiropractor that I'm one of those guys that likes to have the communication from my health providers. Hey, you have an appointment tomorrow. Don't forget, fill out the paperwork. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. Either an email or a text or something that kind of shows that they're doing. And then if I reply back, it's an actual person replying back to me. It's not just an automated thing. They do have automations, obviously, but then when you reply, it does go to someone. They reply back to me. And my last one was like that, but then it was purchased by someone else. And I just don't think that well, I know that they haven't because I went there one day and the credit card was down. The front girl The front desk girl seemed not as happy as she had been in the past, um, and I didn't feel comfortable. And they never reached out back to me. They never messaged me, never said anything. It's like I was just didn't exist. And I was trying to pay, and their credit card machine was down, so they say, "Oh, call back later." So I called back, and the phone was not working. A lot of red flags. Now I understand that they had just taken over, and they had a lot of things, they bumps in the road that they have to. So I'm not insensitive to that. But after about a couple of weeks, you would think that they would call you to get your money. It was a lot of money that I was going to pay them, and they didn't. So I'm trying a new place today. I'll let you know how that goes. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in today, this morning. I appreciate all of you as always, watching this, whether you're watching it live now or whether you're watching it in the future. I hope this information helps you and it guides you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day out there. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. And as always, peace.